legal authority of the second-class township code to enforce zoning ordinances.
It
Yes,
says
we
that
can
it
do
has to go to a board to vote.
Yes.
What has to go to a board?
When you take any actions like that to...
This is business, right?
This is a legal matter, all right? This is a legal matter being handled by lawyers who represent yourselves as well as the other parties.
Okay.
In this matter. And we'll deal with it, right or wrong. What we think we're doing is right, and that is to refer this matter to the Planning Commission. Let them come back to us with some appropriate regulation or ordinance to deal with this issue. And that's honestly the way we're trying to do this.
Excuse me. Why do you think that what we have is inappropriate when Hopewell just reinstated it? It's a problem if we let it go.
Actually, Hopewell's ordinance, the one that was just recently passed,
Yes,
is
sir.
what our Planning Commission is looking at right now. That's what they're looking at.
There's nothing wrong with ours.
Oh, most certainly there is. You heard the Planning Commission solicitor say it's broken, and it is broken. Let's face it. Wait a minute. Nobody, not even you folks, think that when a plumber comes to your house and parks his truck in your driveway to work on your plumbing, that that's a violation. Nobody thinks that, but that's what that ordinance says.
Mr. Faust?
Exactly
No,
what
it doesn't,
says.
sir.
Faust,
There's other things that allow for that in our ordinances.
Anybody with common sense knows when you go to, for example, the store and you see the no parking sign, does that apply to the police department? Does that apply to the fire department?
Of course not. We all know that.
Of course not.
Strictly says that your plumber can't come.
It does not.
It doesn't say that.
That is not true. If you read the whole ordinance book, which I have, there is
That's just
an ordinance in
throwing
there
dirt
that
in the
allows
air
it.
to confuse the problem, a typical tactic.
It is not a typical tactic. I'm telling you, those aren't my words. That's what D'Antonio said. And believe me, I don't put words in his mouth. I really don't. Nobody can. He says what he says, and that's what he said. It's broken, we need to fix it, and they're working on it. They had a meeting last week,
Mr. Faust, we all know what this is about. We all know what this is about.
That's where you're coming from. But nobody else here is thinking that, sir.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
No, they are.
May I
And that
ask
last,
Mr.
last
DeCiccio
point,
something?
I don't want to get into
Yeah,
it.
may I ask you something? You seem like such a very nice man, and yet all these meetings I've come to, you don't ever say anything, and I know that you're the chairman.
Because my solicitor, Faust, told me before the meetings, it's a legal matter and we're not supposed to say nothing.
That's
why
exactly what I'm
none of the
advising.
board members are saying anything.
So we're not
So
really
that's-
allowed to know how the rest of the board feels on this?
Well, let me ask it this way. Does anybody disagree with anything I've said about this? Does anybody? Really? No. And I've not talked, at least tried to talk to all of you about this issue at one time or another. We're not always all together, but I always have. Have I ever taken any issue on my own? I can't. I don't have a vote here, folks.
Mr. Faust, you've been less than truthful to us.
Oh, that's nonsense.
Okay.
I've been absolutely perfectly
I'd like to play one thing then.
And that February 16th thing was ridiculous.
Okay.
You know I was looking at a date on a memo. That's all.
All right.
They all agree with me that they had seen
now
that.
we won't look at a date on a memo.
Okay, we have others.
One more thing, just while we're at it.
Yeah, okay,
I go in there all the time, and
Yeah.
I've never seen the damn vehicle.
but you must go during the day, maybe.
That's
Yeah.
in my office. They take that.
But we have them
And you
all
know.
times of the day.
Hold on. What did you say? What did you say?
I've gone into your plan since August,
Yeah.
through, January.
Yeah?
And I've never seen it there.
It's a lie.
See,
How
we're
do I
talking
know
about
that's a lie?
Yeah, it doesn't.
No.
Because you told me, we'll shut this off now. I'll
Okay,
tell you
shut
how.
up.
What do you, or is it okay to
No,
leave it on?
whatever.
The truck.
I'm mistaken, but I just never saw it. I
Truck
don't
or the
recall
van?
seeing it.
Because
Truck.
we didn't talk to you until November, okay?
Us.
Us.
I know.
Okay, all right, we didn't talk to you until November,
About it.
okay?
Yeah, yeah, right.
We didn't
Yeah,
talk
we're
to
just
November.
gonna tell you about our
And
conversation.
then you said to my wife, in November, that you just drove by this weekend and you saw it.
You had cause to be up there and
Okay,
you said, and I don't blame
and
you. Those were
between
your
me
words
and
to
you,
me.
I wouldn't like it myself. So that's a
She said, I
lie,
don't blame you.
Well,
Yeah, I
you
don't
know
blame
what?
you either.
Okay, I'm corrected, but
okay?
I've been telling you now personally, I know where you're coming from.
All right.
That's all I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I
I mean, you would hate it, and I really believe with all my heart, if we
So,
don't address
I don't
this.
know who I need to get involved next in this, or will this be taken care of? This is what
I'll
I'm
tell you, I'm talking to the
Tape recording
supervisors about it tonight, I guess, not tonight, it's tomorrow night.
Yeah,
I'm gonna talk to them about it, and I'm gonna give you the straight scoop, swear to God, I'll tell you exactly what we're gonna do,
okay.
alright? And I'll put it in writing, and I'll answer all
Okay.
your questions.
Okay.
That's fair.
You're right.
At least we know what's
You're
going
right,
on.
I did have I'm certain that I told you that if I did see it that day, I probably said, well.
So you have seen it then?
Yeah.
I did.
All right, so
But I
let's,
didn't see very much of it.
Well,
Let's put it that way.
here's, my point is
And
that
we've never brought that up.
that's
You said you'd be off
again
the road.
deceptive.
I had an even more frank conversation with your lawyer
you
about
started off with, honestly, to tell you the truth. Later you told me, I swear to God I'm going to answer all your questions in writing. I've never received that, Mr. Faust. Later on in the conversation, you admit that you lied and that you saw it.
Our fifth and
Less
final
than
point
truthful.
is so that the board is not
I'll put it up
confused-
on the web so you can see it again if you'd like.
I don't need to see it again.
Okay.
So that the board is not confused, this is our fifth point, about Hopewell's ordinance, in case the board had been told what we had been told. At a meeting we had with Del Faust in his office on January 17th, 2011, Solicitor Del Faust stated to us that he had a conversation with the solicitor that represents Hopewell regarding the parking of commercial vehicles ordinance, and Faust said that his partner Michael Jones told him, and these are his words, not mine, there ain't no way we're putting that in. When in fact an ordinance was already in the works on November the 8th, 2010, Hopewell enacted an ordinance March 11th to combat visual blight, among other issues. And thank you so much for letting me get through that, because it was a lot.
Would you like to hear that one too, or
No,
not?
I believe it.
Are you
And
believing
I
that?
might add, isn't that significant to you, that the solicitor at Hopewell, who happens to be my partner, thought there was no way that ordinance was gonna get through, and it did!
But
He didn't
that's,
have a vote!
at the time you told us this, he said, no, there's no way it's going to go
But he
through.
doesn't have a vote!
Why wouldn't he have
Guys
it?
do.
He said he didn't have it. Why didn't you say something to
He
the
was
order
pre-
of,
he
but
was-
it's in the works?
He was already preparing it. It's again,
I don't know.
dishonesty.
He
Oh,
was.
Listen, I can't follow the whole, anyway, go ahead, Doc.
I just have to say something. You know, I've been on this board for 10 years. I've worked with Mr. Faust on multiple occasions on this board. I take offense that you call my solicitor dishonest. He's been nothing but
I've provided evidence of that, sir.
Well, you can provide evidence all you want in conversation. You can take words, sentences, paragraphs, meanings any way you want. I have total confidence in my solicitor. I think the rest of the board does also. He's done a fine job for us. If evidence of malfeasance or anything else you want to bring, at least to me, I think our solicitor has done a fine job for us. And I will continue to take his advice.
And I want to say that we are upstanding as well, and we have the entirety of all these, and we did not pull out excerpts out of context.
You weren't.
Okay, because we
So
didn't.
want any
This
confusion?
is a convoluted issue. It's being handled by our planning commission. Now, I mean, it's in the process. As we hear things back from them, we will have appropriate hearings and actions.
Yeah.
And
We all know what this is about, though. We all know what this is
You
about.
have your opinions.
Look.
Why would it be so easy to enforce the ordinance in 2009 like that without any other further, there's no letters or anything that we
Yep.
received and we requested them from Mr. Faust or anything. The police got called, they went to the place, he wrote up the thing, he spoke to the woman, it's all clear, you have it now, and he just enforced
There's a
it.
little difference to me with a semi-truck.
It's still a commercial vehicle,
Now
sir.
you're arguing what it is, what kind of commercial vehicle, not whether or not it's been
These
enforced.
things are visual blights. And you know, there's a lot of dirt in the air in my neighborhood, and believe me. There's people, that think, oh, we're talking about every mini soccer mom minivan, every big pickup. Our son has a Nissan Tundra. It's huge. It has a step on it. We know that's his vehicle. If he lived there, he'd be parking there. We get it. And there's also stuff, and there is stuff in the ordinances, and I will provide it in an email tomorrow to Ms. Del Tondo so that you can all see it, that addresses that. Of course, we're not village idiots. We know if you're getting landscaping done, even 101 Turkmore, if they come to do his own yard, I expect there's going to be vehicles there that day. If I owned a landscaping business, I sure as heck would have them doing it too. And I expect that. People are going to get their house painted. The ridiculousness this went to at the planning meeting was the solicitor said, oh, and he made a big joke out of it, like this was so funny to us, that, oh, I guess if somebody's going to have their house painted, they have to have two people, and one unloads the equipment and the other one rides around and around until the job is done because he can't park his van.
And we all know who was
that's not true.
involved in appointing the solicitors too.
I mean, this is very, very deep. This isn't just this, but you know what? For us, it was just this. I simply came in and said, could you please enforce this? It's a visual blight. And I happen to know, not just my own opinion, but many other realtors and people in the realty business that I have spoken to about this, that it can adversely affect your property. And I just feel like if you don't, it's a slippery slope. Miss Delata stood in here and said, and she's a realtor, so she knows about covenants and things like that, and she stood in here one day and said, we saw other vehicles, so we thought it'd be okay. So, and I said to you all at that time, you see about the slippery slope I'm talking about. You allow one and you don't enforce it, and somebody else sees it, and pretty soon there's many. And no, I don't think there'll be one in every driveway, but there could be enough that people drive through the plan and then maybe go down to the next plan and say, this is much nicer. I go in there, that's visually unattractive. And pretty soon, they're making their choice with their feet, and all our property values drop because it's the only way to get rid of the homes.
Have you guys seen the Hopewell ordinance?
Yeah, we've
Have
seen
we
the
seen
Hopewell ordinance.
Yeah,
We own it.
What do you think about it?
I think it's perfect and very clear.
No,
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you better be careful
No,
there.
because I don't know what, I thought you meant the commercial vehicle ordinance.
Yeah, the one they just
I've
passed.
seen the Hopewell ordinance.
The Hopewell.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant
It's a
ours.
Hopewell.
And you heard me say I own the
Okay.
book.
First off,
I don't
I'll say
own
this.
Hopewell.
No. You want an answer? I'm going to give you an answer.
Did you see it? What'd you think?
Yes.
I
we have it.
read the Hopewell ordinance.
All right.
Under Hopewell ordinance, due to height, Amadeo's truck would not be allowed. Okay?
Right.
The plow would. Okay?
I'm sorry, you said would or would not?
The plow would because of the size, the height of. He
The pickup with the plow.
has a pickup with a plow and salt spreader on it.
Have you guys seen the Hopewell ordinance?
I've read it, but I don't know the other Hopewell ordinances that were. I don't know what
Referred
goes.
to it in that.
I read that section of it only. Okay. For example, Center Township has ordinance against signage that also breaks their vehicle. It has.
Yes, that's the biggest
They're in
beef.
violation of. I mean, if that was a white van with a ladder on it,
We would
I
not
don't
be
care.
here.
I wouldn't be here. It's a rolling billboard.
It's 4 sides. Look at the picture. It's not some little
Do I need to show you the
Pennsylvania
picture?
number.
Oh, I've seen that picture, I know.
All
But
right.
I feel like they maybe weren't informed of exactly what we're
Okay,
talking
it's a
about.
rolling billboard. It doesn't violate just one. Yes, it violates the commercial vehicle ordinance, and it violates also the other ordinances, just like Amadeo's does. It violates the signage ordinances also. All of these things that we bring up are just promptly ignored.
Well, listen,
I mean, I don't like.
I know you don't believe anything I said, but I did find.
With reason.
I did get the Hopewell ordinance, okay, and I sent it to D'Antonio. I did do that, and I don't think I got around to, I think I gave it to a couple of you, okay? Then the other guy, the lawyer who represents Delata, he sent some correspondence, and that was sent off to the planning commission as well. So, you know, we're making an effort to get them as much information as
There's
possible.
nothing wrong with the ordinance that you have.
No, I think there
The
is.
only thing that's wrong with
That's
it,
my opinion.
The only thing that's wrong with it is it doesn't include Amadeo. That's what's wrong with it.
Well, that's the other thing. You all know that we issued a cease and desist order against them.
And he's right. He's
And-
there
and
all
he-
the time,
he was
all
parked
week.
there all
Not just with
weekend.
the
Well, I'm not
pickup.
gonna
Now
comment
the
on
dump
that.
truck is back.
And you never enforce anything with it. How long have we been telling you that he's been parking there?
A year.
A year.
Anyway.
A year.
There's no enforcement notice.
Can anybody who has seen those pictures argue that that's a visual blight? Please tell me that you at least
Would you
understand where
want
we're
that
coming
vehicle
from.
next to you in your neighborhood, Mr. Phelps?
Hey, I'm not gonna say.
Would you just be honest? Honestly.
No,
We're
you're not gonna
sitting
believe me
here
anyway,
telling you.
so I'm not gonna say
We're
anything.
sitting here telling you we don't want it. Why can't you guys be honest with us? Would you
Well,
like that?
I'll be honest with you, I've had that in my neighborhood.
And it doesn't bother you.
It truly doesn't.
Why? You don't value your home? You don't want your values to stay up? You don't like a pleasant surrounding? I don't understand how that could not bother you.
Truthfully, I have a very pleasant surrounding. The gentleman back the street has a landscaping business. And
I've been up and down your neighborhood. I haven't seen it. I've been in all your neighborhoods. I
wanna
went to
go
see
now?
where everyone lives.
You wanna go now?
No, we've been
I've
there.
been there.
We've been there.
It's there. There's a dump truck in his driveway.
Why don't you enforce that? Why don't you ask for it to be enforced?
It doesn't bother me.
Well,
I mean, it truly
This
doesn't.
bothers us, and there's stuff on the books.
I mean,
That's okay.
I understand. I mean, I watch TV. I see people live different ways. But normally, that's why these ordinances were put on the books.
It's
They
also
were
why
put on the
covenants and
books.
restrictions are on the books too.
What? What was that?
It's also why people have covenants and restrictions. in
That's
the deed.
also why people have
That's
covenants
right.
and restrictions on the books.
That's right.
And that's
Center
truthfully,
Township put
and
them
this
on-
is just my opinion.
And the
That's why
excerpts
I'm
you
gonna
take
live
of
in
my
a-
conversation, we don't talk
I
about the
don't-
covenants and restrictions that I
That's not
think
my
are more
style.
appropriate in this
That's not my
circumstance. But that's my.
Mr. Faust,
Mr.
we
Faust?
brought it this far. If you guys change that
I took it
ordinance,
in-
you can change it. We do have the covenants, and we can certainly do
But your
that.
co- you know, when
But they're
your
going to
co-
expire, so are
Current
yours.
covenants expire.
And
Mine
now
are.
this is all of Center Township. This is like a moral thing now for us, a moral obligation. There are new builders in here and everything, and you guys don't
If
care.
you guys don't mind the engagement here, you know, the bottom line,